Subtle skills, big results.
Welcome to the Ninja Selling Podcast.
Welcome back to the Ninja Selling Podcast. This is Rob Nelson, CEO of Ninja Selling, and today I am joined by the one and only Peter Parnegg. Peter, are you having a good day?
Yes.
Would there have been a better way for me to ask that question?
If you wanted a better answer, there would have been a better way. Yes and no questions are clear. Like, why did you come back at 10 o'clock last night is a long question. But if you said, what time did you come back last night? 8. Were you drunk? No. Were you driving too fast? No. Why did you come back later?
Yeah.
What caused that? And we are not generally calibrated to really think about the difference between a yes/no question and an open-ended question. We've all heard about it. It's been in the vernacular in sales and everywhere, open-ended versus closed-ended. But if you really listen to us as practitioners, yeah, are you having a good day today? Yes. And then we're hoping that the person offers something about it. But if you're going to kind of be like in a podcast with somebody and you wanted to demonstrate it, I would just say yes.
Or if you don't really care how their day is going.
Which is interesting. I bring that up in a conversation.
Yeah. So Peter, what does this have to do with Ninja Selling?
Can I go back just about 17 years?
Sure.
Yeah, real quickly. I was introduced to Ninja Selling and Larry Kendall in 2008. And Larry, this is kind of funny. You'll enjoy this going back a long time. I owned and operated Coldwell Banker in New Mexico, and the Coldwell Banker regional affiliate said, let's do a statewide sales rally. And you have some choices for speakers. You could have Matt Ferraro, maybe David Knox, I don't remember, or Larry Kendall. And then the caveat was, well, Larry's about ready to retire. And so he's not going to go on the road anymore. So if you want Larry Kendall, this is 2008, you should have him now. And we didn't know anything about Ninja Selling or Larry Kendall. However, I had secretly been competing with the group starting in 1995 because I was all about productivity per agent. And my little 90 agent company in Albuquerque, H. Parnegg Realty, I was all about productivity per agent. And there were 2 companies in the United States that I could never catch. One was Barbara Sue Seal in Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't a fair fight because she had $1 million average price even back then. And then there was this company, The Group. And I was like, who are those guys? And every year in the Real Trends, I would be just behind them. And I was like, who are they? Little did I know what was about ready to happen 13 years later. So anyway, we got perfectly marketed into Larry's never going to go on the road again.
Yeah, he's still out there.
Yeah, he's still out there. Yeah, here in 2024. And he came to Albuquerque, and it was really a quite remarkable moment when he presented a preview. That's literally what he did, as we know it now. And everything about it resonated because people love to buy and they don't want to be sold. And we realized everything we had been taught for the last 25 years was how to sell, how to close, how to overcome objections, do all the things that people don't like it when they are done to them. And the reason we all disliked selling was we were supposed to do things to people and we didn't want to do it again. And all of us were like, I hate sales.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden it was like, oh my gosh. And then Larry demonstrated through Socratic method, through asking better questions. And I was like, I love this. And that's really how the precursor to what Ninja Selling did in my life and how I resonated with
Well, let's
it.
go there because the listeners of the podcast have a varying degree of experience with Ninja.
Yes.
And some of them wouldn't understand the difference between a presentation and a Socratic presentation. So describe the 2 differences and at the core of this, what makes Ninja different around a presentation?
If you've ever been in any sales industry, not just real estate, almost everybody that had a sales track and sales talks, the very first thing we were taught was how to do better presentations.
Yeah.
That's where everything started. You need a 3-minute elevator speech. You've got to have a listing presentation. You've got to have a closing presentation. And everything was really literally a talk track, how to say more that would convince somebody. Scripts. And it was not listening scripts. It was talking scripts.
Yes.
And it was literally designed to convince and close and overcome. And as I like to say, who likes to be closed, who likes to be convinced, and who likes to be overcome? We don't like it. So the traditional sales industry, why we all, and I would say this pretty universally, didn't want to be salespeople,
Right.
is we didn't like doing that. And so the living conundrum, if you go right back to Ninja, there's only two parts to this business, doing the business and generating the business. All of us like doing the business. It's fun selling houses and it's fun with nice people. That part is fulfilling and rewarding. But what everybody disliked was, how do I get business? And that goes back to prospecting, and it goes back to selling and overcoming and all that stuff. And what finally, why Ninja and why this is also important, is what relieved the pressure of getting business was quit asking for business and instead creating value.
Yeah.
Which was stop selling and start attracting.
And at its core, the creation of value is through asking questions that lead to clarity.
So that people can understand for themselves what they want.
Yes.
Then we can help guide them
Yes.
as no longer salespeople, but really as guides, either as ninja guides or sales guides. And that just resonates. I've not yet had a person come to a ninja installation and go, I don't like this. I want some closing scripts.
Yeah.
That's just not.
Give me some hard closes.
Yeah.
Peter.
Give me some. I live in a place we need some closing scripts.
Yep. Real estate is nuanced. And you looked at this from the lens of sales at large, right? But hone in on real estate and agreeing that it is nuanced. There is this way that Ninja takes clumsy and makes it elegant. Describe that and put a little light on the relationship of questions to elegance.
Let's see if we can unpack this relatively efficiently. Clumsy is using an axe in all situations. Most salespeople have one or two tools, and it is, I don't know what they are, but you got to get to a close, ask for the order. In old school terms, press hard. There are three copies, what we used to say, if you don't ask, you don't get. But the nuance is, and let's talk right now, the Wimbledon is going on. If you watch the shot selection of great tennis players, of great golfers, sports, most salespeople have a very small bag of shot selection. And when you are in an interactive sales situation, wouldn't it be great if the customer was reading from the script as well? And so we role play it. You say exactly what you're supposed to. No, go back to read 1B. You misquoted that. But stuff comes up always unexpectedly in interactions. People just say things you go, wow,
Where'd
never
that
even
come
thought,
from?
where'd that come from? And so really the elegance is adding to your shot selection and knowing how to deal with a situation you've never seen before. I was talking at the group the other day there's a pro golfer there, like a really good golfer. And he said, the key word around the green is imagination. And I'm thinking, wow, in a very technical sport. And the same when you watch great tennis or great anything. If you watch the Olympics are going to come up, what happens when you get the unexpected? And so elegance for me is having a bigger toolbox. I think there are 9 specific skills that I have focused on that if you can develop them, then you can handle all kinds of unexpected situations elegantly rather than going,
What do I do with that one?
yeah, and just going, I'm stumped. Even to the point when somebody says something you have no idea what to do with, say, I've never even thought about that. Let me think through that for a few minutes. I'm not prepared to answer that.
Sure.
And that triggers all kinds of insecurity because I think a lot of people think I'm supposed to know the answer to everything. So
Right.
I don't. I've never had that one before. One of the reasons I love real estate is I've now been in the business 45 years. Every day, well, not every day, but often something comes up I've never seen before, which makes it interesting. It isn't rote. So the elegance is building the toolbox.
Yeah. I hear you completely. And at the core of Ninja, not to oversimplify Ninja, but it's a complex and wide-reaching system. But at the core of it, there is simplicity in that Ninja selling is really 4 things. Number 1.
Well, let's go back to 3.
Yeah. Mindset, skill set, actions.
Mindset, skill set, actions. Nice, really nice 3 silos.
Yes. And out of that comes the idea that if you can master the Ninja 9 habits,
which is where are the actions?
Yes. If you have some sort of a marketing plan that involves, auto flow and traditional marketing, if you have that, right? And if you can master the buyer process and the seller process, you really have a handle on Ninja
the 2
selling.
skill sets.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when you're teaching the Ninja installation, just unpack the buyer process and the seller process a little bit. And maybe we replace the word process with questions.
That's what I was going to start with. It's labeled a process. And I think maybe that's because that's more palatable to the public. We have a process because everybody's like, oh, good. That makes me feel better. But the reality of it is, I think I can do them all from memory. All of them are really a question.
Yes.
I mean, even the funnel process, would you like to see how that works? And it's designed to solve your greatest fears as a buyer. And then everything on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you rate yourself? Or and if you really look at it, I'm just thinking minus the tell of the funnel process, everything is a question. So out of 26 process steps, 25 are questions. So that would be great. Yeah, they really are. And that's what got me excited about it. When I saw it the first time, it wasn't like, closing scripts, overcoming scripts. It was great questions that allow then, even if you look at our selling process, the first thing is create rapport and then move into a questioning, information gathering, not a pitch dump. And it changes the whole dynamic.
You said it early. They become listening scripts.
Yes.
Yeah. Shift gears with me. Go to a very different place. Let's talk about words that mean nothing.
One of my favorite topics.
Yeah, I know it is.
Yeah. We all speak English. We all have a basic vocabulary. And yet within that vocabulary, there are dozens of words that have very specific meaning to the person using them. A quick demonstration is, if I were to ask you, Rob, in square footage, how big is a big house to you? What would you say?
6,000 feet.
6,000 square feet. If I asked 20 people, depending on where they lived and where they grew up, they might say 4,000 feet. Some realtor might have sold a 10,000 square foot house. Big now has a 4,000 to 10,000 square foot definition, which is, if I do the math right, that's a 250% variation using a word we all supposedly know, big. Here's another one. From the date of an offer being written to the day it closes. What's a quick closing?
14 days.
Yeah. My world record is 5 days.
There you go.
Buyer was ready and, all things came together. Most people say 15 to 30 days. Why this matters is buyers and sellers all the time say things to us like, oh, I'm in no hurry. Well, unless you say, what's no hurry to you? Well, 2 weeks. And you're like, holy moly, right. I imputed 3 months, because not in a hurry means 3 months to me. How big a backyard? A quick story. I had a ranch for sale in New Mexico. It was 20,000 deeded acres, which I thought was a pretty big ranch.
Big backyard.
So I thought, I know who to send this to. Let's send it to Ted Turner, who you may or may not know this, largest private landholder west of, I think, the Mississippi. So I send him this ranch and I'm all excited. And he writes back, excuse me, we consider nothing less than 50,000 acres. This was a backyard to them. And it was like, oh, I thought this was a big ranch. So the point here is we start acting and making assumptions based on a word that a buyer or seller uses, like, I just don't want to live too close to my parents. And you go, oh, I get it. Or I want to live close to my parents. I get it. I don't want too big a backyard. And, I want to be relatively close to schools. And you go, great. And then you go along and you ask them, tell me how not living too close to your parents would be. And they go, 2 states. And you go, oh, I'm thinking 3 blocks.
Right.
And then we build our searches, our conversations around them. So the sensitivity, and this might be a complete takeaway from this podcast, start to sensitize to, I'm in no hurry. No, that's, it doesn't need to be too soon. I don't want a really big backyard. All those words that mean nothing. And what's the rule? Just say, when you say big, tell me what that means to you. 2 acres.
Take the assumption out of it.
I've lost 2 pretty large commissions, like one, both sides of $7 million, because I made an assumption on a word that meant nothing. And so I like to say I've paid my tuition dollars on that.
No kidding.
And it was literally based on one sentence that I thought I knew the meaning of the customer.
Yeah.
And so from now on, every time, big, small, too soon, too fast, not too anything, stop and say, when you say that, what do you mean by? Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah. Peter, you really seem to have a good handle on questions, and you seem to have a passion for questions. Have you thought about doing anything with this passion? Have you thought about writing a book?
You must have been looking at the interweb. Huh. Imagine that.
Incredible.
Yes, I have written a book, and excitingly, on June 28th, June 26th, it became live on Amazon.
Yeah.
It is purchasable.
It is out there.
I thought if we were going to write a book, if I was going to write a book on questions, I better start with a question. So somewhat sarcastically, I don't know if it's sarcastically, the title of the book is Why Bother Asking?
Yeah, it's a sincere question.
It was a totally sincere question. And then, true story, I woke up in the middle of the night because I was looking for what the subtitle would be. And this was delivered to me from the author, the divine author. And it was Unexpected Keys to the Kingdom of Connection. And I think when I came to Ninja, one thing that Larry talks about all the time is connecting. It's core vocabulary to Ninja. And for me, fulfilling relationships always are as a result of a connection, that you can feel it, you can tell it, you know you've been seen, you've been heard. Most realtors say, oh, I think they like me. You can hear it. I think they're going to list with me. I think they like me. And really, like is a function of a connection. And if people do business with people they know, they like, and they trust, all those things are interactive. And so really the book is, how do I create better connections with customers, with my children? Most of us have experienced some sort of a distance from our parents accidentally or from somebody you really love. And so hopefully this is a meaningful toolbox that can navigate not only better sales, but better relationships, better understanding, even with yourself, asking questions. And hopefully it's a user-friendly guide, really prompted, as Larry likes to say. Larry's footprints are all over the book. And the dovetail of me showing up at Ninja and this book, which was written in its first draft in 2005 and literally sat in my Google Drive for, 20 years until it was time to birth properly. But it dovetails so perfectly with everything we teach at Ninja, which is people are loyal to you when they know you and like you and trust you and will refer their friends. And this is the handbook for that.
So if somebody wants to order your book, they could visit whybotherasking.com or just go to Amazon and search Why Bother Asking.
Yeah, Why Bother Asking, Peter Parnegg. I'm the only Parnegg. Well, actually, my mom co-authored a book she's been dead for 20 years, and I put my name in as I was looking. It's like, I forgot this book, Mom, called Recovering Catholics. It was kind of funny. She was an alcoholism counselor, but yeah, it's pretty easy to find.
So whybotherasking.com. Peter, so in 90 seconds, let's wrap this thing up. Why bother asking?
The pay dirt of being alive is ultimately our interactions with human beings. There are some people that would just want to live off the grid in Alaska. And if I never have to talk to a person other than to go into the commissary and get some food and it's, hey, Bert, how you doing? We're good. And then they'll walk out. There are certainly some people, but I think roughly guessing 80 or 90% of people yearn for connection and interaction. And I believe that, and I've now so buried in this, I watch movies now and I go, there's a better question. This will turn out better. Ask the question. And I just see so many interactions fail because, as Stephen Covey says it so beautifully, most of us listen with the intent to reply rather than with the intent to understand. And so if the pay dirt and a joyous life, one of the places to get that is being seen, being heard, and most importantly, help other people feel seen and heard. If we can give that gift to people by being better, I coined the term questionnaires, I think we've improved humanity.
Yeah. And ninjas are better questionnaires.
They are better questionnaires.
Thanks
Absolutely.
for being here. Again, check it out, whybotherasking.com, or search Peter Parnegg or Why Bother Asking on Amazon. He's got it in print copy. You have it on
Kindle.
And
Hardback is coming too, if you want it. And we'll go wild. I think by, let's say, July 20th of 2024, it should be Audible, read by the author. They tell me to say that.
He recorded it himself.
Recorded it myself, yeah.
Well, again, check out Peter Parnegg's book, whybotherasking.com. Peter, thank you for being here. You've done amazing things for the Ninja Nation, and I think you continue to do that by spending 20 years writing a book about questions.
Thank you. Well, I bleed. Wait a second. I'm branded. I'm really branded. Yeah.
If you can't see it, Peter Parnegg decided that he needed the Ninja Selling key symbol, which we use as our logo, as a tattoo on his wrist.
Which, to finish, really, if you talk about this, comes from the Chinese symbol chi, or energy. And we are all connected energetically.
Yeah.
And the way we connect better is by asking people about what's important to them. Whoa.
Let's leave it with a question.
why bother asking?
If you enjoyed this episode, visit us at theninjasellingpodcast.com to learn more about ninja selling classes and coaching to get you started or further your journey on the ninja path.
Thank you for joining us. Now go have an incredible day.